Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Kathleen and it's time for the Sex Talk for Parents, a YouTube channel dedicated to parents around navigating the conversations of sex and sexuality with their child. I am currently a stay-at-home mom of two, but prior to that, I used to be a sexual health educator. I used to go out into classrooms and into the community and work with young adults, adolescents, teens, and children around a variety of topics regarding sexual health and reproduction and STI prevention. Now that I'm a stay-at-home mom, I've been meeting other parents and I realized that although I feel super comfortable talking with my child about sex, other parents don't feel as comfortable. A lot of parents even feel very uncomfortable saying the words penis and vagina with their child. This is why I wanted to start this YouTube channel and provide some of the information and knowledge that I have to you so that you can be your child's primary sexual health educator. Now, today's video is around having the sex talk with your partner. You may have had the talk about when shall we start a family. That has now occurred, and now you're parents, and congratulations. Having a child has been extremely exciting and exhausting and relentless and rewarding all at the same time for me. And I love seeing them question the world around them, and it's a very exciting time. But one of the things that I had done with my partner, because I had worked in this field for so long, was established how are we going to talk about sex? How are we going to answer questions when our child comes to us with a variety of sexual health questions? So we have agreed to approach it in a specific way. We do not lie, we tell it very age-appropriate, medically accurate information. This video is for you to talk with your partner. It's very important that you get on the same page around some specific foundational family values when it comes to sexual health and how you guys are going to both continue the conversation so that, you know, they're not getting one message from one parent and another message from another parent. Okay, so you and your partner are on the same page. You've decided we're going to have a conversation about how we're going to talk to our child about sex as they continue to grow older. Here are a few things to consider. First, have you guys discussed using the anatomical terms for the body parts? One person saying willy, another person saying pee-pee, another person saying penis. It isn't super confusing for the child, they'll figure it out, but at the same time, as your child gets older, as they're away from you, if they get sick or they get hurt or something is in pain and they go to a nurse, a healthcare provider, or a doctor and they use a slang term, it could be confusing. Maybe the person, the healthcare provider, understands that slang term, maybe they don't. I would recommend using the anatomical terms from the beginning so that they know what they are and that they can use them as they continue to grow older. Next, have you discussed consent around your child's body? I think it's really important when it comes to helping your child know that they have control over their body, that they don't have to have someone hug them or kiss them or touch them, is when people come over to the house. For example, if grandma or grandpa or auntie or uncle comes over to the house, you can say to them, you know what, grandpa just arrived. I'm gonna go up and say hello to them and I'm gonna give them a hug as the way of saying hello. But if you don't feel comfortable giving them a hug, that's okay, but you still need to say hello to them and you can either give them a high five or a fist bump, whatever you prefer. And this lets them know that they don't have to do what you're doing, but they do have to acknowledge that the person is there. An example of this was my father came over to our house and my daughter went up to him, and at the very beginning I told her, you don't have to give him a hug, but I'm going to. She ended up giving him a high five. When he left, I said to her, I'm gonna give him a hug to say bye. If you would like to give grandpa a hug, you're more than welcome to, and before I could even finish, she just ran over and gave him a hug because she was just so happy to have spent the day with him and they had a great time. And when I talked to my father about it, I let him know before he came over that this is what we're doing, this is how we're establishing consent, and how we're gonna help her in understanding what consent means later on in life by giving her these choices and opportunities now about decision making around her body. And he understood. And when I talked to him later on, I said, you know, I was so excited when she came over to give you a hug. He was like, oh my God, it felt amazing when she did that, because we had just spent the day together, we had played, and she was just so happy and so heartwarming that that's how she wanted to express it. And I think the hug was even more genuine for him at that moment. When you do decide how you want to establish consent and autonomy over your child's body, I would really recommend that you share that information with the extended family, with the aunts and uncles, the cousins, the grandmothers, the grandfathers, and let them know how you're going to be doing this with your child, so that way they understand and they don't say to their child, come over here and give me a hug, or I drove all this way and you haven't given me a hug, I feel so sad. That is not what I want my child to hear. I want them to know that even though someone has driven a very long time and they have come all this way to see you, it is not your responsibility to give them a hug or to give them a kiss because of that. So I do encourage you, once you've established it, talk about it with your extended family and let them know that this is how you're establishing consent, healthy relationships, and autonomy over their bodies. Next, are you both on the same page when it comes to answering sexual health questions? So I have a great video about the 5 things not to do when your child asks you a sex question. If you have not watched that one, or you aren't sure about how you want to approach when your child asks you a sex question, I would encourage both of you to watch that video and then make sure that you're on the same page, that you're going to either make sure that you're not doing the dismissing of the question or the barking back of the question, that you're both on the same page of the 5 things that you should be doing in order to be your child's primary sexual health educator. How are you going to establish the answering of difficult questions? Now, the last 2 things that I want to make sure that you're on the same page about is, what are your family's values around sex, sexuality, and healthy relationships? And what are your religious beliefs around sex, sexuality, and healthy relationships? You know, in my family's values, we have a sex-positive approach. There is no wrong question. Every question can be answered in an age-appropriate and medically accurate way. Whereas maybe some people's sex-positive approach for their family values may be different from their religious beliefs and what their religious text says around sexual health or sexuality. So it's really important that when you're establishing how you're going to be approaching sex questions with your child, how you're going to convey what your family's beliefs are, that you're also taking into consideration the culture and the religion that you're also providing for your child, and how you're going to add those in. Because if they're spending some time with religious leaders or with a religious community, you should be establishing that kind of conversation and what they might be hearing, and then how that falls in with your belief system and what you are trying to convey. Make sure you take a look at all 3: family values, religious beliefs, and cultural values. Now, those are the things to consider. Those are the things that I would recommend that you and your partner kind of sit down and hash out. Even if your baby is still in diapers and not even asking questions yet, this is a great opportunity to say, you know what, wow, I didn't know that you thought about it this way, or I didn't know that you wanted to approach it this way, and here's why I want to approach it this way. And that is great to have those conversations before. If your child's already a teenager and now you're trying to establish your family's values, sit down, talk about it, and maybe even bring your child into the conversation as well and see what their values are and how they're establishing their opinions and ideas and beliefs in that manner. It will be a great conversation and being open-minded to it. My last thing that I would like to do is I would like to give you a few questions that you can answer on your own, your partner can answer on their own, and then you can discuss it together. The way you answer these questions will help to guide your answer to your child. What is your opinion on marriage? What is your opinion on premarital sex? What is your opinion on sexual orientation? What is your opinion on hormonal contraception? What is your opinion on gender roles? And what do you consider to be a healthy sexual relationship? Take a moment, think about how you would answer all of those questions. Think about how you would answer those questions with your partner and how you want to convey what a healthy sexual relationship is to your child when they are, 12 years old, 14 years old, 16 years old. Just remember that what you're establishing now is going to translate into their future. I know that in the future, I want my child to have a healthy sexual relationship. I want them to know that they can talk with their partner, they can express their feelings, and that it is not something to be ashamed about. It is not something to hide, and that if their partner isn't respecting their thoughts or their views or or is understanding about what they are expressing, that is not a healthy relationship. So answer those questions. See where your answers fall with your partners. And the quicker that you come to, you know what, I can tell my child what I think about sexual orientation, what LGBTQ is. If you're able to establish that in your own vocabulary and your own way of saying it, that's how you're going to approach the question when your child asks you, what does gay mean? Or what does it mean that he's gay? Or what does it mean a person is transgender? You'll be able to answer it and how that fits in with cultural values, religious beliefs, family values. That is it for me today. I hope that this information will help you and your partner in discussing sex and sexuality and help you lay the foundation of how you want to discuss sex and sexuality with your child. That is it for me. I'm Kathleen Hema. It's time for the Sex Talk for Parents. I will bring you another video next week on another sexual health topic. If you have questions, concerns, comments, please leave it down below in the comments and I will take it into consideration as I make more videos for you. And thank you for joining me. Have a great rest of your day.